Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about a game which was played by Magnus Carlsen and Ding Liren. Magnus Carlsen's world number 1, Ding Liren is world number 3. This game was played in 2019 December in the World Rapid. So in that game, this was a London system played by Magnus Carlsen because he usually plays that into quicker time control. But this was the most boring game in his career, probably, because it went with d4, knight f6, knight f3, d5, bishop f4, c5, e3, knight c6, bishop e2, bishop e2. You can also play bishop e3, but bishop e2 is slightly more defensive. I felt Magnus was just playing for a draw, so he didn't want to do anything too committive, but it's okay. C takes, E takes, bishop g4. In the end, Ding Liren does play bishop f4, bishop g4, so it's fine to play bishop e2, but it doesn't really matter. C6, maintaining the bridge. E6, knight comes to d2, bishop comes to d6, knight comes to e5. Knight e5 is not a bad move. Excuse me. What I would have played here, probably, over here, I would, instead of playing knight over here, I might have just brought my bishop back and then exchange and bring bishop here and go for something. But I feel like Magnus, again, didn't want to go anything too committive, so he just made sure the position's solid. Obviously can't take with a knight because then pawn takes and these two fork. So, okay, bishop takes, queen takes. As you can see, this position's already extremely simple. With this structure here, there's nothing to really play for. The only hope I see as white is to bring this bishop back, maybe f4, knight to f3. Eventually, it's not winning, but I feel like this is one plan, but I'm pretty sure Ding Liren wasn't going to allow that. He castled, queen comes to c7, just putting more pressure on this file. Rook came to e1, developing. So what's so interesting about this position is it's already a dead draw. Like, if you check this position on the engine, it's 0.00. Not only here, but even if you go back to the 9th move, this position is 0.00 draw. Which means it's a equal game and the computer can't find any advantage in this position. Even in the opening, it's dead in the opening and there's nothing here. This is what's interesting about this line is because if you're looking for a draw as white, this is extremely easy because I've played this, I've got this position a few times, and I've been able to draw with 2,200 players in this position. So if you're looking for a draw, this should be amazing, if that's your plan. So again, back to the game. After bishop takes castle, queen c7, rook came to e1. I feel Magnus didn't really want to try anything bishop g3, f4. I think he was just scared that Ding Liren might have some ideas. He was just playing for a draw. Knight came back, takes. This position, again, is so dead. There's nothing to play for here. If you look for some attack, f5, f4, even if you get f4 and if black doesn't take, knight comes here, there's still nothing here to play for. Because even if you do get that position, black's not going to take. Black can take and it's still going to be a draw. And if you look for some attacking ideas for black, you could think of rook c1, but there's no point because you're hitting a rock. Same here, we are kind of hitting this rock. And some ideas of b5, a5, b4 can be stopped just by a simple a3, stopping everything. I could probably take a draw with anyone here because it's so dead. Knight came to b6. Magnus just making sure no silly attacks start coming here in the b file. And the c4 square looks juicy if b5 comes. So rook came to b8. Ding Liren was looking for something. I'm pretty sure he just didn't want to draw this early. Knight came back to c1. So now Magnus wants the same thing, but with the knight on d6, holding these two squares. It's just a slight improvement. I don't like it too much, but it's okay. It can work. So after b5, a3, just stopping any silly business here. so there's nothing really to play for. Knight came here. Here Magnus played b4, which is slightly committal, which I don't recommend. b4 is just saying that you were breaking the principle and now you're just giving black a few advantages by just opening up the queen side, because most of black's pieces are facing towards, like, this knight is here, the queen is here, the rook is already on b8, so I feel black is more prepared for this. Better move, yes, is to play knight d3, control this extremely good square, and any b5 attack doesn't really work. Takes, and then you have knight pawn, and there's too many pieces here. It's just going to simplify and peter out to a draw. Variation is knight d3, rook fc1, controlling more files, knight c5, strong knight comes to e7, because now even this knight has to look for something. f4, h6, knight comes back to d3, because how are you going to improve this position as white? If you think of a move something like this, I can't even trade, or don't even have to trade, and it's still easy draw. So again, knight comes back, g6, g4. It's still a draw, but there's some ideas. But b4, not a good move. Knight went back, because as you can see, there's a weakness here. Knight tried to develop back. I feel this was a waste of time from Magnus to bring the knight back and forth. So I don't understand his plan here. I feel he just, again, was just trying to simple it out. a4. a4 just seems too committal. a4, yeah, you got this weakness, but even I have this square. So I don't see any reason how you're going to be able to win this. Again, I think taking had some chances, but a4 is fine. Then comes a4, knight came to c5, queen came to c6. And now the positions are going to draw, because, yeah, there's a weakness here. How are you going to attack it? My knight's going to be here all the time. And even if you somehow manage to get the knight there in exchange, I just take with this pawn, and now your pawn's a weakness. So this is just not going to work out. Rook came to d1 after Magnus realizes the queen side's closed. Now he might just look for some ideas over here. Knight came to f5. Rook came to d3, trying some stuff out. Maybe a rook lift could work. Knight came back. Some ideas like this. Rook came to h3. Magnus is trying to get ambitious by some mating attack. It doesn't really work, to be honest. Knight came to c5, c4. Rook e1 is a possibility. Rook to e8, sorry. Maybe you want to push e4 and get something, but it's okay. Knight comes here. Now both knights are just holding squares. Queen to a5, one move threat. At 6, nothing new. Rook comes here. You can't take, obviously, because then queen takes pawn, and then there's mate here. So then came king g8, just avoiding any attack. f4, too ambitious again. You're creating too many weaknesses in your position. So the best move is supposed to be queen g4, just making sure you have some attack, some threats. Not winning for sure, but at least there's something. Then comes rook b d8. I don't know. I don't really understand the reason for this move. I feel it was just, you have to just try being ambitious and get something. It was okay. Knight came back to d3, because you see that this knight can't do anything there. Maybe this square could work better. I feel you have some attacking potential. Came f6. It's creating weaknesses, but it's okay. Both sides have weaknesses, but they can be usually properly used. Knight goes back to c5. Rook comes to e7. Queen comes to g4. It's just a very dead attack for both sides. f5. This square is slightly becoming more strong, but again, you're creating weaknesses for yourself. There's just too many holes in this position, but there's nothing you can do with the holes, because if you have two knights here, say white has another knight here, then I could see a lot of potential, because you have these two squares under a good attack. Then the knights are actually controlling a lot of good squares. And then this is actually potentially a good attack if you have another knight here, but that's the problem, you don't have it. This knight over here might look more useful, but then if you control all of these squares, then it feels like this position is just extremely good. But okay, this position is still fine. Then comes queen comes to h5. Here, I feel white is just being ambitious, trying something out, because the position's not necessarily working out here. Then queen comes back, trying to trade queens. Take. Rook comes to a3. Finally, yeah, now you have to defend this pawn because now there are no queens, no attack, so you have to defend. King to h7, just getting some movement of the pieces. a4, h4, sorry, you're stopping any plans here. g3, sorry, g6. Again, just some structure. You're just trying to make your king solid. King to f2, knight comes back to get to this better, excuse me, to this better square. It's just a position with too many holes, but the holes cannot be exploited because you don't have enough pieces. That's the problem. That's why this London system line is known to be a very high tendency for draw. In this position, they've accepted draw, this h5 pawn. Now, you can see more holes in in black's position. Same with white. But again, you don't have enough knights to use those holes. And even if you get a piece on those holes, like there is no potential threat. And if there's a threat to attack something, it can be easily defended. This position was a draw. So what I'm trying to explain with this variation is, if you're basically looking for an easy draw, you just try to exchange pieces off, bring your knight to e5. This knight to e5 line has an extremely high tendency of draw. So if you're looking for a draw, it always works out. If you're not, then I recommend you don't play this. So yeah, this was it for today. Just a nice, simple deadline. If you This position is extremely boring for most people, but you can play it if you're just looking for a simple draw and you don't want to. It's like maybe a last game or just a game you don't want to play too hard or push too hard for a win. You can try this out. You're probably gonna get a draw easily, and you could get a win if your opponent tries to get too ambitious. In this game, both players were trying to get ambitious, but obviously it's not enough. So it's just, maybe I could say, if you're a point ahead and just need a draw to win, good choice. I've tried this out many times in my last rounds of many tournaments. I've got draws in some games in 15 moves, 20 moves. My quickest ever was probably 9 moves. So this variation works out pretty well if you're not looking for anything. So thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And good night.